Okay, welcome back to Stoneshire Homestead, everybody. I might have said that once in this video already, but we're in the process now. We bought all of our butcher block countertops. This is what we're using. Birch hardwood from Menards. So one of the things that we really needed to make sure we were okay with was, or knew that was good, was the wood itself. And Menards has a lot of these in stock. And so we've got chunks of it that we could pre-examine because they're only covered in this like layer of plastic. So you can go through and see, okay, is there at least one good side? And there is, and every one we found. There's at least one good side that we can face up to eventually put the actual butcher block itself onto. And so in this case, this works out. What we'll end up doing is overhanging this just enough. We've got about a 3/4 inch overhang here. We measured it with our trim pieces. So let's pull this out. That's why it was out. We measured it with our trim piece. So that's about 3/4 of an inch out. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll take another piece of trim to cover up the probably a 1/4 inch gap on the back side as a backsplash. Probably not in white. We'll probably use some scrap or offcuts. Like we can absolutely take offcuts from this and mill a couple pieces that are, it doesn't even have to be very deep, 1.5 inches or whatever we want, and get a backsplash on it if we eventually want to do that. So that's the scoop there. And then I think as far as that goes, we're doing okay. There's some issues with leveling that we had to take care of. This cabinet to the other little cabinet is level here, but in the back it's a little low, and because my dad and I didn't exactly shim it all the way up, but it's an easy fix because what you do is you take little shims, and these are the same exact ones we were using for the door stuff. Like I got the bucket full. Thanks Grandpa for cutting those for us. And we'll put shims on it, and then we should be good, and we can attach it underneath through all the different faces that are facing up. So when it's finally set, it'll lock everything in, and then these faces will meet and they'll look nice. So the next step of the process here is we've got to cut this piece. So what I did was I took a pencil and I scribed the line, because we set this right on top, and then I took the pencil and I physically went against the edge of the counter, or not the counter, yeah, I went right on the countertop underneath, and I actually physically touched the edge of the cabinet and matched it up to make the line. That's why the line is so straight, but it's also freehand. So you can see there's 3 different lines here based on what angle I've got. So I traced it a few times to get the right one. And then now that we've got that, we know exactly how far we got to go. And so one of the other things we were looking at, so you see here, we got a bit of a weird edge. It's like they tapered it already for us. We don't want that. And thankfully that works out okay, because where the oven sits, we've got to cut off probably, I don't know, 3-4-ish inches. You can kind of see, because I marked where that cabinet ends right here, about 3-4-ish inches we're cutting off this way. So we'll take the table saw and we'll run the table saw this way, and we'll get pretty close to this line that I made, but not quite all the way. We'll overhang it just a tad. And then after we cut it table saw wise, then we'll come back and we'll take the jigsaw and we'll cut along these grooves. What I am going to do though is stay on this side of my outer line, because if something happens to be wrong or not quite right, I can always come back and I can sand it to make it flat or even or look nice again. So that's why we went with an extra 3/4 inch overhang. We only need about a 1/2 inch, so we're giving ourselves a 1/4 inch here to help save ourselves in case something goes wrong when we're cutting this bigger piece. This is the only major cut we have to do, is this chunk to match this profile here. If we can get that, we're good to go, because that's an easy cut. It's a 6-foot length, and we've got an 8-foot piece of cabinet. It's easy just to cut 2 feet off. And then this one is really easy. You just plop it down and lock it in, and we're not really cutting anything else. So hopefully that goes well. We'll cut this. I'll come back to you. We'll see how it goes. I'll do some test cuts before I get into it here. Okay, partway in. We're at the point now where I'm gonna have somebody hold this side, because if we get too far here, I don't want it to crack off and lose our safety net. The other thing we're doing is we're collecting the sawdust. So when we do that joint where they meet, we can throw some wood glue and sawdust together and make it look like the original piece. So we're gonna stick it in this bin and then continue the cut here. I'll show you the final product when we're all said and done and how it goes. Anyway, we'll come back. Well, I'm happy I had somebody hold it. It didn't break off at the end, but it got close, and you can see where it did. If the camera will focus for me, you can see that spot that it didn't actually cut through that last little bit. My worry is it was going to do that all the way back here. I mean, it is birch wood, so it's stronger, but I was worried. As far as staying on the line goes, whew, sawdust sneeze. We didn't do too bad. Here I took the line. When I got here, I thought better of it, and so I kept the line. And this is the short side that probably should have a little bit more on. Here we had enough room to kind of fudge a little bit, because you can see kind of how the lines went. So all I'm going to do is come back, clean up this little bit of a corner. We'll round some of the edges off with the sander, and then we should be able to flip this back into position and potentially even lock it down tonight. We'll see how that goes. First things first though, I'm going to clean this up. All right, so we did okay for ourselves. Got everything sanded really, really nice. You can't even tell it was cut. Actually so good so on this side that you can't even tell anything was done to it. A bit of a snafu with the corner. You saw it in the previous clip where I had that little jut out. Didn't need it because the place that I had marked was where these meet up. And so this is sitting a little high now, but when it gets screwed down to the cabinet, they'll sit flat and they'll be flush. And then what we got here is a tiny little gap that will take our wood shavings here that we made when we cut that piece. We'll mix it with some food safe wood glue, which does exist, and we'll pack the joint, and then we'll come back with a fine sander and you won't even be able to tell. And then the only thing we'll have left to do is put a backsplash on it, and we should be good to go. So successful cut, successful set. What we'll do, like I said, we'll just take a 3/4 inch backsplash piece, set it up there, and you won't even know anything was awry. That can sit all the way across, just like that. And you won't even be able to tell that anything was ever missing. So we'll do that all the way down and all the way over until it meets the oven, and we should be good to go. And we'll probably actually, I can't imagine us using something else. We might actually use our baseboard trim for this because it matches the wall, and we can paint it an accent color if we really want, because it's already primed white. But that's the look. And this piece that's hanging off, I'm not worried about. What'll happen is we'll slide the dishwasher underneath this. After the flooring is in, we'll slide the dishwasher in, and then we'll either find a bracket. I think the best thing to do is actually just find a bracket and screw it in here so it sits into the wall. So that's the last little bit of stuff we have going on here. So that's all I've got for today. If you like what we do here at Sterling Shire Homestead, give us a like and a subscribe. Other cabinet tops next. This one, we'll cut one for this one in a bit. For now, we can't put anything on that because it's untreated, so we'll have to stain it and seal it first. So the first thing we'll do is screw it down. Eventually that sink, that one there, will go in. We'll have to make a pattern, and then we'll drill it in exactly where we want it to go, somewhere right about here. But we're getting close. So hopefully we can get that all done in the next, I don't know, 2-3 days. No, not 2-3 days. A couple weeks, I'd imagine, to get all the countertops on and screwed in. All these are screwed in. The only one we don't have screwed in is this last one here, and that one should be fairly self-explanatory. All right. So we'll see you later. Maddie's going to get some shots for the gram or whatever she posts this on. I don't know. If you like what we do, like and subscribe. Till next time, everybody. Peace out.